Let's talk about ways that we can organize our data. This is different types of graphs. Now, you will use different types of graphs based on if your data is categorical or quantitative, like we talked about in the last video. We're going to spend more time on quantitative graphs because that's the kind of question you have to ask for your group project. But I do want to talk about two very common categorical graphs, and that is pie charts and bar graphs. Pie charts and bar graphs are both used for categorical data. Favorites, any kind of question that gives you word answers. So let's go through pie charts first. Pie charts are a circular graphic divided into slices based on proportion of your population or your sample. Now, they can only be used on categorical data, like I said, and we know that all slices of a pie chart must always add up to 100%. So if we look at this question right here, a survey was taken on people's favorite sports. Basketball was 35%. Let's list these out. So we got basketball, 35%. Football was 22%. Baseball was 20%. Other was 12%. And then there's some amount that don't like sports. So the first question it asks is, what percentage of people don't like sports? Well, we know that all of these percentages must add up to 100. So all we need to do is 100 minus the ones we've got, and that gives us 11 left over. So 11% of people don't like sports at all. So now we're going to use all of this to create a pie chart. So we draw a circle. I have always found that if you're going to draw a pie chart by hand, it's pretty hard to make it exact. So one way that I do it is to split my pie chart into fourths. And I know that 25% goes in each of these fourths. So, for example, if I have other and none, both of those are a little less than 25. If I add those together, I get 23. So I'm going to do other and none with a little bit left over because they don't quite add up to a full 25%. Now I can say football, that's a little less than 25%, so I can go a little less than 25. That one's going to be football. And baseball is 20%, so that's quite a bit less, and I'm going to use this little bit here, so there-ish. And then whatever's left over is my basketball. So that's not exact. It's a lot easier to make pie charts using technology. But that's just approximating using those 25%. Is it more? Is it less? To kind of approximate how big the slice would be. Okay, so that is our example of a pie chart. Let's also talk about bar graphs in this video because that's the other one that's only used for categorical data. Then in the next video, we'll talk about the ones that use quantitative. So bar graphs are a graphical display using bars of different heights. Now, we're going back to this favorite sport thing. We have 16 people that liked basketball, 12 people that liked football, 10 people that liked baseball, 10 that liked other, and 4 that don't like sports. And we want to create a bar graph representing this data. So anytime you create a bar graph, how often it occurs goes on this side. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There we go. That was really bad. That was a bad example. Anyway, so we call this the frequency. The frequency that it occurs, how often it happens. And then we're going to make our categories. So this category is going to be my basketball category. And I had 16 of those. So it's going to go all the way to the top. Now, big thing about bar graphs, and statisticians are very picky about this. Bars on your bar graph do not touch, ever. If it's a bar graph, the bars should not touch. So we're going to do our next category here. Let's do this one, football. And it has 12. So about there. So I can see that's my basketball, 16. Here's my football, 12. And my bars are not touching. Statisticians are very picky about that. Next, I can do my baseball, which is going to be 10. About there. And then I have my other category, which is also 10. And then finally, I have my none category, which is only 4. So that's an example of a bar graph. You have your frequency over here, how often it happens, how many votes for that category, and then your categories on the bottom with your bars not touching. Okay, those are the 2 most common graphs used for categorical. In the next video, we're going to talk about the most common ways to analyze quantitative data.